Have you ever felt like Halloween isn't just a holiday, but something darker? What if I told you that the scariest stories don't come from movies? They happen to people like you and me. Here's what happened to me on the 31st of October. I still don't know how I survived. Halloween has always been my favorite holiday. I love the decorations, the spooky atmosphere, and the chance to embrace the eerie side of life. But after what happened last year, I'll never look at October 31st the same way again. It was a chilly evening, and the streets were alive with costumed kids running from house to house, their laughter echoing in the crisp air. I had just moved into a small suburban neighborhood a month earlier. It was one of those picturesque places with tidy lawns, white picket fences, and pumpkin-lined porches. Being new, I was excited to join in the festivities. I went all out, decorating my house with cobwebs, fake skeletons, and a glowing jack-o'-lantern. I even dressed up as a witch, complete with a long black cloak and a pointed hat. As the night wore on, the trick-or-treaters thinned out, and the neighborhood grew quiet. By 10 p.m., I had blown out the jack-o'-lantern and started cleaning up. That's when the doorbell rang. I frowned, glancing at the clock. It was late for trick-or-treaters, but I figured it was a couple of teenagers hoping for some leftover candy. Grabbing the candy bowl, I opened the door. No one was there. The porch was empty, and the street beyond was eerily silent. A cold breeze rustled the fake cobwebs, making them shimmer under the streetlights. "Hello?" I called out, stepping onto the porch. No response. I shrugged it off, blaming some bored kids playing a prank. But as I turned to go back inside, something caught my eye. A piece of paper folded neatly on the welcome mat. Curious, I picked it up and unfolded it. It was blank. I flipped it over looking for some sort of message, but there was nothing. Just an empty white piece of paper. Shaking my head, I tossed it in the trash and locked the door. The night gets stranger. I had just settled onto the couch when I heard it. A soft knock on the window. It was so faint I almost thought I imagined it. My heart skipped a beat as I turned toward the front window, but the curtains were drawn, and I couldn't see anything. Another knock. Louder this time. I slowly stood up, my pulse quickening. "Who's there?" I called out, trying to keep my voice steady. No answer. I peeked through the curtains, but the street outside was empty. The only thing I could see was my jack-o'-lantern, its flame extinguished, leaving its face in shadow. I was about to turn away when I saw it. A figure, standing just beyond the pool of light, cast by the street lamp. It was tall and motionless, draped in what looked like a long, dark cloak. I couldn't make out any details. Its face was hidden in shadow, but it was staring directly at my house. My throat tightened. I stepped back, letting the curtain fall shut. "It's just someone messing around," I muttered to myself, trying to stay calm. It's Halloween. People play pranks. But deep down, I didn't believe that. The uninvited visitor. I tried to distract myself, turning on the TV and flipping through channels. But no matter how loud the volume, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. And then the doorbell rang again. This time, I didn't hesitate. I grabbed my phone, ready to call the police, and approached the door cautiously. "Who is it?" I shouted through the door. No answer. I looked through the peephole. The figure was standing on my porch. Up close, I could see the cloak more clearly. It was tattered and damp, like it had been dragged through mud. The figure's face was still hidden, but I could see its hands, pale and thin, with long, jagged fingernails. "Go away!" I shouted, my voice shaking. The figure didn't move. It just stood there, its head tilting slightly, as if studying me. I backed away from the door, clutching my phone. "I'm calling the police!" I yelled. As I dialed, the doorbell rang again and again. And again, the sound was relentless, echoing through the house like a scream. The chase. The moment the dispatcher picked up, the doorbell stopped. 911, what's your emergency? I tried to explain what was happening, but before I could finish, the knocking started. Not on the front door, on the windows. It was coming from every direction. Soft taps at first, then louder, more insistent. "Someone's trying to get into my house," I shouted into the phone, my voice cracking. "Stay on the line," the dispatcher said. "Officers are on their way." I clung to the phone like a lifeline, backing into the living room. The knocking was everywhere now. Windows, doors, even the walls. It was deafening, surrounding me, closing in. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, it stopped. The silence was worse. My breath came in shallow gasps as I waited, phone pressed to my ear. "They're here," the dispatcher said. "Go to the front door and let them in." I ran to the door and flung it open, expecting to see flashing lights and uniformed officers. But the street was empty. "No one's here," I whispered. "Ma'am," the dispatcher said, her voice urgent. "Stay inside and lock the door. Officers are still en route." I slammed the door shut and locked it, my hands trembling. That's when I heard it, a voice low and rasping, coming from the other side of the door. "You can't hide from me." The escape. I don't remember much after that. I ran out the back door, sprinting through the yard and into the street. I didn't stop until I reached my neighbor's house, pounding on their door like a mad woman. They let me in, and I collapsed on their floor, shaking and sobbing. The police arrived minutes later. They searched my house and the surrounding area, but found nothing. No footprints, no signs of forced entry, no cloaked figure. The aftermath. I moved out the next day. I never found out who or what was tormenting me that night. But every year when Halloween rolls around, I can't help but wonder, was it just a prank gone too far? Or was it something else? Something that comes out only on the 31st of October. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Would you have stayed in the house or run immediately? Have you ever experienced anything unexplainable on Halloween? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Do you think Halloween is just fun and games? Or is there something truly supernatural about this time of year? If this story sent chills down your spine, hit that like button and share it with someone who loves Halloween. Don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying tales. And remember, if someone knocks on your door late at night on Halloween, don't open it.